Quick disclaimer, I'm currently recovering from illness and my voice has been affected by it, but I hope you can enjoy the video nonetheless. In an industry where white deliveries seem to be all dominant, an airline like Air New Zealand going the opposite way stands out quite a bit. And Herpa Wings has luckily featured quite a few of their all blacks aircraft. But is it any good? Well, we'll find out right after the drop. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A321NEO of Air New Zealand. At the front of the box we have a cutout, so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of the box we have the Air New Zealand branding. The backside of the box is unfortunately quite the letdown from Herpa Wings. This rather dreadful box design is the standard from Herpa Wings these days, and they don't seem like they will be changing this anytime soon, so let's not waste more time with the box and let's take a closer look inside at the aircraft model itself. And here she is, the Airbus A321NEO in the all blacks livery of Air New Zealand. So it's technically not the standard livery, but if you were thinking that, you could be easily forgiven because they have quite a few aircraft flying around in this special livery. The standard livery, of course, being predominantly white, but with a black tail section, whereas the all blacks livery, as we see it here, as far as I know, is in support of the so-called All Blacks, the national rugby team of New Zealand. But in any case, if I am wrong, I'm sure you will be correcting me in the comment section below. But now let's focus on the aircraft model itself to see what it actually has to offer. And on the vertical stabilizer we find the Air New Zealand branding. On the fuselage we then have the New Zealand fern and the full registration code of the aircraft. And towards the very tail of the aircraft we find a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. On top of the fuselage we then have the addition of a set dome, giving a lovely contrast with the white here to the black livery. So that looks pretty decent, I think. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then have the Air New Zealand branding. We find a few static ports and the Star Alliance logo, of which the airline is a full member. If we then focus on the cockpit section of the aircraft, well, while I'm not a huge fan of the mold here, I think the nose looks a bit dodgy. It is definitely being helped along by the black livery, which kind of covers up the kind of odd shape of the nose. But we do have some lovely printed details here, which includes the cockpit windows with the window wipers, and above the cockpit windows we also have the last two letters of the registration code printed on. And from the cockpit we can move on to the engine nacelles. They have been kept in all white, but do have the silver leading edge printed on, as well as some safety markings, which definitely elevates the overall look of these engine nacelles. But the physical detailing itself is actually also pretty awesome, especially here from the front, where we very nicely can see the engine fan blades. Then on the fuselage, just above the wings, we have the emergency exit printed on, which leads us straight to the wings, which we should also take a closer look at. Starting off with the top side, where we have the different flap slats and spoilers carved out very nicely. We have some different shades of grey for additional detailing and the markings for the emergency exits. Also, the underside of the wings offers us more nice physical detailing. Notice also the red tips of the pylons, and of course we have the full registration code of the aircraft once again. The A321NEO, of course, also comes with these lovely winglets, which has the Air New Zealand branding printed on, but you need to be aware Herpa is incredibly inconsistent when it comes to these winglets on the A320 family aircraft, so you do need to check this individually for every single aircraft you are interested in buying. But in this case I think I got lucky, as I think they did a pretty decent job. A pretty decent job could also be the description of the landing gear, at least the main landing gear, because that does actually look pretty alright. The front landing gear is unfortunately quite oversized, but that is the current standard from Herpa Wings, and as always it is missing some printed details. On the belly of the aircraft we then find a hole in the fuselage for a stand, which is not included with this aircraft model, but in this case it doesn't destroy any printed details, and as everything is painted black, it basically is covered away. So I don't really mind, but it is rather silly nonetheless. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft, and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A321NEO in the All Blacks livery of Air New Zealand from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, I mean, what can I say? It is a really lovely looking aircraft model, mainly because the livery is just really awesome, at least in my opinion. The A321 of Herpa Wings, well, I mean, It's not a terrible aircraft model, it's just that I've never been a fan of the cockpit shape. I think the nose looks really weird, and even though it is pretty well covered away by the black livery, I still know it's not right, and that bugs me. But other than that, it is a pretty lovely aircraft model. Could there be more details in the print? Yes, for sure, as always with Herpa Wings, but it's not like they haven't put any effort into it. Especially the wings look really great with loads of detailing, so that's pretty awesome. Of course, it's not a secret that this kind of model doesn't fit very many people's collector area, but at least I think it's nice that the Oceania region gets some narrow bodies as well, because normally it's just Qantas. If you're lucky, maybe an Air New Zealand wide body, so a few narrow bodies from that area I think is also quite lovely to see, especially when it has such a nice livery like this All Blacks of Air New Zealand. So yeah, even though it most likely doesn't fit many people's collecting area, I still think this is a lovely aircraft model to have in one's collection. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, then don't forget to leave a like, and if you are new around here, you're always welcome to hit subscribe. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.